Well, today Instagram rolled out several new features that they say are meant to protect teens. The updates come just one day before Instagram's CEO is set to testify before Congress tomorrow. Joining us now to talk about the new features is CNET's editor-at-large, Ian Sherr. Ian, always great to have you here. I know the company is set to testify about how the social media site is not harmful to young users, as recently reported. But if that's the case, why would they go ahead and make these changes in the first place?
Yeah, definitely. You ask a very good question, and I don't think they have a very good answer for that. I mean, the reality is that it does impact the mental health of teenagers, not all of them. But this is based, the Wall Street Journal and a consortium of news organizations, including us at CNET, have seen the documents that are from inside Facebook that show that it's aware that it's impacting the mental health of many people. And so changing a lot of these features, first off, this is something that Instagram has been talking about for a while, trying to make it a better experience by essentially trying to take away a lot of the negative stuff that people talk about. And part of this also is to kind of acknowledge what parents want out of Instagram as well. So first off, people are going to be able to set a limit on how much time they will be scrolling through the app. So you can set it so that it will remind you, hey, after 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 3 hours, whatever, maybe you shouldn't be doing this. Maybe you should do something else. And then by March, they're going to include this feature for parents where if you're tied to your teenager's account, you can actually set these timer controls for your kid. And you can even find out when they report someone who's been harassing or a predator or something like that. So it's trying to give people a little bit of a sense of control over a lot of this stuff and parents a sense of agency as we're all trying to navigate this crazy world.
Definitely. I know that they had originally, maybe a year or so ago, people were talking about Instagram for kids. I know that's been put on hold, of course. Do you think that these new features are going to fix the current issue or make it better?
Depends on which issue we're worried about, right? I think the Instagram for kids is a very interesting point. So if we think about one thing, which is that the tech industry's talked a lot about time well spent, is what they like to say. Essentially, the idea that I don't feel like I've wasted my time scrolling through my feed. And in that case, this could be very helpful for that. But if we think about the broader questions about mental health, about impacts on society, then this doesn't really play that much of a role. I think that the question around Instagram for kids in particular, Facebook has been very defensive about it. And they said, look, there are kids using Instagram today, right? It's actually called Finsta, right? A fake Instagram. And it's something that a lot of people do because they want to have access to this because celebrities are there and all sorts of other stuff. And so having an Instagram for kids allows them to control the experience better, which in theory is a great idea. But in practice, we've seen YouTube for kids had a ton of troubles, and other efforts to try and kind of create a kid's version of the internet just haven't gone well.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll have to see what comes out tomorrow when they testify before Congress. Do want to ask you something going on current right now. Amazon Web Services outage is happening right now. I know it's affecting things like Disney Plus and Netflix, but also like Coinbase. What do you know about the outage? Anything you can share?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, this is part of what we kind of expect as part of life on the internet, right? We haven't really gotten a sense of whether or not this is the result of something bad or not. I'm willing to bet it probably isn't, although you never know for sure. But generally speaking, what we've seen, especially lately, is that these systems, we're all reliant upon them, right? Netflix and a bunch of people use Amazon so much that when it has a hiccup, which is inevitable, we have days like today.
And we're all just having to figure it out and work through it.
Twiddle your thumbs, right?
Exactly. Scrolling with nothing actually populating. That's how it works. Ian, thank you so much for joining us. Always appreciate your insight.
Thanks for having me.